you.
Fun. We're ready? Okay, sounds great. Hi. Welcome back to Inside the Block podcast, where we go around and interview different business owners in the warehouse block. And I'm really excited about today's interview because I'm with Erin Goins of Bites of the Bluegrass. Thank you so much for being on this.
Thanks for having me, friend.
It's like long time coming, for
yeah,
sure.
Agreed.
Get a couple of glamazons that love history. I mean, it's like meant to be. I even wore my aerosols for you today.
That's right, sister.
I love it.
Me too.
For people who may or may not know you, which is maybe only like one or two Lexingtonians out there, can you tell us your background? Can you tell us how you started the food tour Bites of the Bluegrass and how it's moved to the warehouse block?
Sure.
Great.
So I went on a food tour in Montreal about 12 years ago, and it was such a cool way to connect to the city. I heard all these stories that I never would have known and went to restaurants I never would have tried. And it created such a fond memory for me that we actually went back the next year. And I've now book a food tour every time I travel, right? It's kind of how I move through traveling on the first day, so I know what to do from a fun, energetic local. To tell you exactly how to spend your time while you're there.
Yeah.
And so I've gone on like 50 food tours, and I was sitting on one in Nashville when I looked at my husband and I was like, why have we never gone on a food tour in our own city? I bet there's so much that we don't know about Lexington. That was a massive understatement, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I looked online and there wasn't one. And I told enough people that I was going to start a food tour that I had to. Now here we are. In my background, I grew up in London, Kentucky, an hour south, where the World Chicken Festival is, honey.
Yeah, it's like the chicken
right
capital
now.
of the world, right?
You better
or whatever.
believe it.
Yeah.
World's largest skillet.
Yeah, world's largest skillet. Is KFC there? Is that why it's the chicken thing?
No, I think there are just a lot of chickens there.
Oh, okay.
But no, nearby is Corbin,
Okay,
and that's
yeah.
where Harlan Sanders. So we're chicken adjacent.
Just like a wing over.
That's right.
Yeah.
But when it first started, I have some core memories. They used to pull all the inmates out of jail, all chain ganged up to work that world's largest skillet, honey.
Love it.
Yeah.
Amazing. London.
But anyway, I came to UK, as we do, at 17 just the other day, and my degrees
last year.
My degrees are in sociology, history, and a master's in education.
Cool.
But I thought it was going to be like Michelle Pfeiffer in Dangerous Minds. That's not really how student teaching
you were going
went
to really
for me.
change the world?
Absolutely.
Well, you are, but maybe not with students.
It just wasn't quite what I expected. So I ended up working in a college at admissions. That's where I met Mr. Bites of the Bluegrass, and he, with a business partner, opened up some short-term training schools, and I ran the admissions side. There were 16 brick and mortars at one point, and of course, I was enrolling and selling around the tour. And then it's challenging to work with your partner.
I'm sure
any real amount of time. I stepped away and raised kids for a while until this whole food tour thing. After COVID, my daughter, I was homeschooling her, because I liked waking up late. I found out during COVID. I was like, let's keep this party going.
Absolutely.
But she was putting her foot down about going back to school. We were having the conversation on this Nashville food tour. And that's when I was like, what am I going to do with all this energy? And here we are.
Yeah. So wait, Bites of the Bluegrass only started during COVID?
Right after 3.5 years.
That's
it.
Bites in the Bluegrass has only been around 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a mainstay in this city.
Well,
like
thank
you've been
you.
around like 10 years.
I'm a full-time busybody. Yeah. And that's made it that way.
Speaking of, so there's never a moment that you and I are talking where you're not like, so I've got this project going and then I'm also headed over here and I'm doing that. Like, first of all, where does all the energy come from? And then what are all your projects right now at this particular moment?
Right now I am focused on teaming up with the Manchester. Bourbon and Belonging is coming back again for the second year. This is going to be an annual thing that will bring visibility to bourbon, which is super important. This is put on by Queer Kentucky.
Cool.
And it's Northern Kentucky, Paducah, Louisville, Lexington. And so there's a great calendar of events. I'm going to be taking a tour to the Distillery District this year, where it'll be only queer history. And oh my gosh, I mean, Mary Walker, 1865, she won a Congressional Medal of Honor. Do you know how many Congressional Medals of Honor have been given to women? It's 2025. They've given out 3,500. One.
One. And it was a Lexingtonian, Mary Walker?
Well, she was born in Syracuse, but her entire career was in Cumberland Gap. She worked as a doctor for the Union, and she was a prisoner of war. She was part of the women's temperance movement, all the things, right? Baddie. She wore men's clothing of the time. She was, in fact, arrested for wearing men's clothing in New Orleans. And when she won that Congressional Medal of Honor, she was asked, why do you wear men's clothing? And you know what she said?
Tell me.
I don't wear men's clothing. I wear my clothing.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah, she ended up serving out the rest of her career working, overseeing the prison in Louisville. So her whole like work career life was in Kentucky. So I'm calling her ours.
Yeah.
And Kentucky's been home to so many baddies and so many trailblazers. And so this is an opportunity to shine a light on this history that we don't learn for whatever reason. I mean, the very first political club west of the Alleghenies was formed by two men who'd fallen in love in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
And there are stories here from early on. I mean, John Tanner is an account of a young boy who was kidnapped and saved and raised by a tribe. And he talks about these native spirits that were all gender within tribes. There's actually a historical marker to this downtown, but there's so much to talk about. And then we have so many icons today who are both brilliant within their careers, but also use their platforms toward activism. And actually in the Willow, where we're sitting right now, Silas House will be here as part of a Bourbon and Belonging event on October 5th, doing some reading from his new book of poems called All These Ghosts, which is already a USA Today bestseller, which is a big deal because poems don't usually make that list. But boy, does he capture our region. Boy, does he really capture Appalachia and place. And he shines a light on those stories that haven't always fit in so well here, right?
And he's also so wildly humble.
Yeah.
I know. It's kind of weird. It's like you'll see him out and about and you're like, hi. And he's just like, hey. You're like, he's like a normal person. I'm like, you're so talented. Like, how are you normal?
That's the only reason I've gotten here today. I pass him on tours all the time. And I'm the crazy woman who over the last few years has been like, Silas House, by the way, I just read your poem about soup beans when we were at Zim's Cafe.
Oh,
but yes,
I love that.
I just kind of stalk people into,
as you do.
to doing things with him because I greatly admire him. And so many others like John Coleman, who of course you know, and Bob
of the
Morgan,
Bluegrass Trust,
Ernesto Scorsoni, who was so pivotal towards
the bar complex,
LGBTQ plus rights. Right, I'll be there tonight actually for Lexi Love. I mean, that thing is a time capsule in itself.
Definitely.
So they're just so many important stories that need to be told. That's what I'll be doing. Helen Ann Basket will be waiting for us at the end to march us, shuttle us down to the Lost Palm for a drag happy hour.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's like top of mind. And then, of course, here at the Willow, I love to bring in community members to host events that both encourage folks to come in and make a new friend, maybe learn a little something, and drink some wine.
Yeah, so the Willow, I think, is one of the warehouse block's greatest assets. And it's, how long have y'all been open? 6 months?
Just since March.
Yeah. Oh, not even. Okay. So, or maybe about that.
Yeah.
So what's so great about it is that not only is it such a great community spot, like a co-op, you can come and work, and there's obviously wine, there's coffee, but like the events, I think, really set it apart too, because you can have your own here, right? You can have like, I mean, we were discussing off camera how you're inundated with the amount of emails of people that want to bring and do their own things here, but you guys are hosting your own events too, with like a very particular, focus on different community driven things. So there's not really anything quite like that in Lexington.
Right. No. I guess something that would be close would be the Grove. And of course, that is because Evine and Kylie is the kindest, most collaborative,
sweetest,
inclusive person I know, and a dear friend because of it. But yeah, I'm totally inspired by Evina and my other business partner here, Danny Dunmeyer, and Ray is the shy partner, but that's Evina's brother who plays an incredibly important role both here and at the Grove. Evina and Ray, it's their baby at the Grove, and they're always thinking about how to include other people and work together to make something great. And so I'm just happy to be part of this, but this is Evina's vision. She wanted to bring something that was wellness to wine, and nobody does a space like Evina. She has this beautiful eye, and she's turned it into this tropical jungle and where you just walk in and feel at home. And that's because it's intentional. We want you to feel at home.
Yeah.
And Danny is brilliant, brings her own piece to the table because she comes from a background of wine. She grew up in California, and she's a professional dancer.
Yeah.
And so I
recently learned this.
Yeah,
like a pro dancer.
She has her own booming business called First Dance Lexington, where she helps people learn how to dance for their big day. Yeah. She has some classes here, First Dance Foundations. This Sunday is sway to slay.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
But yeah, and she does a great job, like managing the bar and working with Renee Brewer, who of course is a sommelier in town. We have always loved wine and market, and so they work together to bring in the best boutique wines and keep things fresh around here. And that way, I kind of handle the event side and the private rental side, and Vina manages a lot of day-to-day and wellness and the aesthetic.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's like a really great team to work with.
It is. I
Like,
would
you
be
guys get
spending my
along
time
so
with
well.
them anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you
I'm
might as
just-
well open up a business
that's
together.
Right.
Yeah.
I would be drinking wine with them somewhere.
Yeah.
So it might as well be here.
Might as well be here.
And I love thinking of new ways to bring people together. I love connecting people. If I had a special skill, that's what it would be.
Oh.
And
I think you're Lexington's favorite extrovert. For
well,
sure. Yeah.
well,
Networker.
That's very sweet. I definitely have to say so many words per day. Absolutely. So all these
You
things,
have a quota.
Well, yeah. All these things kind of lend to that.
Yeah.
And I love the warehouse block so much.
Yeah.
You know, Chad called me. I don't know. I think I've been over here for a year and a half or 2 years with a tour, and it's because Chad called me and said, "Hey,
You should do one here. Yeah.
yeah, he's like, I'm down here on the warehouse block.
Yeah.
I would love for you to." And he and his wife Jill came on a tour. I remember it actually. We went to Jefferson Street that day because all the downtown tours. I want to include everybody who wants to be included, and so we go to different restaurants every day. It's a horrible business model because I have a bazillion scripts.
Yeah, I was about to ask how and in what ways you like choose those things, but yeah, keep going.
Yeah, it's a bazillion scripts, and
Yeah.
so tour guides have to memorize a lot, which there are 7 of us now. I'm so lucky to have a talented team of
Crazy.
professors and people with theater backgrounds or history backgrounds.
Yeah.
So there are people who can do that and deliver it in an entertaining way.
Yeah, for sure.
So that you don't feel like you've gotten a history lesson.
Yeah.
You've just like gossipped about stuff that happened for a long time, which is
Absolutely.
all that history really is.
Like
right?
an organic. It's like we're just walking and talking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it'll, like I said, it just totally allows you to see Lexington in a different way. Like when I'm walking down the street, I'm seeing Henry Faulkner with his goat, or Sweet Evening
Yeah,
Breeze. I
of
hear her
course.
heels clicking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just creates a real pride of place experience. And that's something that I didn't expect would happen in starting a food tour. I never thought anybody, I thought maybe I'd sell a couple tickets occasionally.
Yeah.
I never thought we'd tour 5,000 people in a year, which is what we toured last year.
So crazy.
And hope to do more. Yeah, I just think of new ways to I just think about experiences that I'd want to go on and create them.
Yeah. So you started with downtown.
Yeah.
And then that branched to the distillery district.
Yep.
And then that branched to warehouse block.
Yep.
So those are your 3 areas.
And then there's a haunted tour, but yeah, we're in the
haunted
downtown
tour.
space. And then I do take people out to Woodford County a lot. I
Okay.
love this whole like Kentucky experience kind of thing where we do bourbon, horses, and culinary. And of course, the go-to for that is Chef Wita Michael. She also brings me a great deal of inspiration. I feel so grateful to live in a community with people like Wita, who not only is the queen of Kentucky cuisine, our Hoe Cake
course.
Highness,
Yeah.
but she's
Okay,
also
Highness.
she's
I
also
love
this
that.
incredible community builder. And as she has this huge platform, she takes everybody along with her.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those.
Yeah.
She has just got more grace in one pinky than most rooms
I
put
know.
together. And
And I love that she's a midway girl.
I love that
You
she's
know,
a midway
I know,
girl.
me too.
And there is something special. I just got chill bumps thinking about it, about sitting on the porch of Holly Hill Inn.
Yeah. Oh,
I
for sure.
mean, talk about capturing place. And it's like there's like glitter in the air. There's just like sunbeam that comes through the trees, and the birds start talking to you.
Yeah.
It's just a strange
Yeah.
magic.
Ethereal.
And it all makes sense. I mean, it's so storied in itself. And it's long been this place dedicated to hospitality. Honeywood is named for Honeywood Parish, who was the last
Yeah.
person to live there before it became as an inn. And her granddaughter Amy lives right behind it. That's Wita's best friend. Wita lives right next door. She's about 10 steps away in this old cabin.
That's so good.
And it's just so authentic Kentucky and so authentic Wita. And it's a place where you slow down and really savor what's so nice about where we live.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Did that answer the question? I don't
No. I love it. No, this is just like what I like about this is these are our usual conversations because
Okay.
we're like, let's cover a billion topics in like 10
Okay.
minutes, rapid fire. So let's go back to the warehouse block. So whenever Chad and Jill had reached out, you were like, yeah, let me go ahead and read. What interests you about this area? Can you give us like some snippets of what would be on the tour? And obviously not spoiling anything for people that
no,
want to go
I
on
don't
the
mind.
tour. Yeah, just
You
just
you
fire
never
'em
know
off.
what we're going to
Yeah,
talk about,
yeah.
to be quite honest, on the
Sure.
day of. I'm always looking for a new rabbit hole to go down. So
course.
it was the perfect call to action for me to see what was doing down in the warehouse
Yeah,
block.
heck yeah.
I didn't know any of the history, but then you start reading about like National Avenue and all the cholera bodies that were dug up and finding that. Then you start looking into what all these buildings originally were, and you start hearing about safe rooms and gas triggered vaults, and then you're like, I wonder how did that Flatiron building get here? Like, what is a Flatiron building?
Right.
How did that come to be?
Right.
And then you learn about A.G. Payne and this guy who created a Husky tonic that was saving people's lives, and then John G. Epping. And it just, I was excited to tackle some kind of new history. It feels like a fun new project and like piecing a puzzle together.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you probably, this is the same kind of thing you do.
Right.
It's fun to like piece it together.
Definitely.
Right?
It really is.
And it's just so fascinating to me to uncover these stories and be like, how did I not know this?
I know. It's because,
and now I have to tell everyone as I run into you at Publix or wherever.
Yes.
You're going to probably hear a history
about John
lesson.
G. Epping.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it was so fun when I started working with the walkers as well, because I was like, let me like do a deep dive on the history of this area, and I felt like it was like uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Like no one has really looked into it, even though I personally think of it as very close to downtown, if not like it's downtown adjacent for
totally
sure.
Downtown to me.
And it is me too, because you and I live so far out. I'm like, anywhere in that central area
That's
is basically
right.
downtown.
It's inside the circle.
It's right inside circle 4.
Yeah.
But it was like nobody has given it the attention that it deserves, because it's not necessarily like, I've said this before too, like the sexy versions of history, like horses and bourbon. It was like, this is an industrial corridor, but it also has like all the fun things that make up, great stories as to like how our building was really, how our city was really built.
That's right.
It's built by this area.
And I've heard you talk about that on Lexington podcast.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. You're right. All the bricks were coming from right down here.
Sure.
And there are so many important neighborhoods that surround us. Of course,
Right.
East End neighborhood.
Of course.
And the racetrack that stood here in 1826.
No, and people don't realize like that, that ended up being Keeneland, right? They moved.
That's right.
Yeah.
And those KA posts don't stand for Keeneland Association. They stand for Kentucky Association.
Yeah.
That 65-acre track that stood just a stone's throw from here.
Basically,
And
like where Jif is, right?
it's actually where the Isaac Murphy Memorial Garden is.
Okay.
That was the
Okay.
edge of it. And so you go back, Race Street and all that, all those streets are named for the
races.
65 acres that once stood in that spot,
Wow.
opened in 1826. And of course, that lends to all the stories of the black jockeys who absolutely dominated the industry before being pushed out by Jim Crow. And Jimmy Wingfield is, my gosh, that's my most recent like rabbit hole. And
Tell us.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
So Jimmy
she goes.
Wingfield is the last black jockey to win a Kentucky Derby before the writing was on the wall about segregation. And that was in 1902. He's also one of only 5 jockeys to have won back-to-back Derbies. And so by this point, he had made a handshake deal with a trainer that he ended up backing out on. Between that and Jim Crow, he knew that nobody was going to hire him here. He was married to a woman named Edna, and he actually lived on Goodloe, which is right by DB8 Kitchen, just around the corner, right? Yeah. And so he's like, I gotta do something. So he bought a one-way ticket to Moscow, and he had this huge career there. He won 4 Moscow Derbies. He was earning $100,000 per year. In that day's money, he owned a room at the National Hotel, which is like the finest. He employed a white butler, ate caviar for breakfast, drank vintage wine.
Well, hell yeah.
And he even adopted a young girl from Russia. And Edna ended up raising her in Lexington. And there's no real... I haven't come across. If anybody knows, please tell me what happened to her. Like, there's no like record. And if we're not talking about this stuff as you and I do, and so many in our city,
right?
Nobody dies until you're done saying their name,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And Jimmy Wingfield is a particularly important story because there have only been 2 books written about him, and historians rarely talk about him, and there's nothing in Kentucky that celebrates him. But anyway, back on track. So now he's in Moscow, and he's having this huge moment, right? Things are going great, and he marries a czar's daughter or some nobleman's daughter. He has a couple kids, but then it's 1917 and the Bolsheviks roll in. So now he's guiding 250 horses and all these noblemen on a 1,100-mile trek through the Transylvanian Alps to safety in Warsaw, Poland. And this is not easy, by the way. And if you look up Jimmy Wingfield, you'll see so many different pictures of him looking like kind of French, looking like wearing this big Russian like fur cap. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
this guy like went through 6 countries and made a name for himself, starting over every time. I mean, it reads like Homer's Odyssey. So now he's in France by this point, and he's opening stables. He's kind of trying to go into retirement. He has a son who's working as a jockey. He marries a baroness. He was also a major ladies woman. It's right about this time that he has, or a woman's guy, he has this Hungarian side piece he fathers twins with, and he won't claim them. So she actually shows up to shoot him. His son like blocks the bullet. It hits his elbow. I mean, what? So now he's in France.
Like a movie.
Things are going great. And now Hitler rolls in and takes the stables. He starts all over again. He's in little Jamaica. He's not got $9. His son is doing well on tracks in the U.S. He's kind of serving as a consultant. And in 1961, he's invited back to the Derby. It's the first time since 1902 that he's attended. And they're actually throwing a dinner in his honor at the Brown Hotel, Sports Illustrated. And he and his French daughter arrive, and they're denied entry at the front door. They tell them that they have to go in the back door. So he refuses, and they eventually let him in. But he ends up dying in France at the age of 93, I believe, 90s. But it was his wish the whole time to be buried in Kentucky. In fact, 6 countries offered him citizenship because everyone wanted to claim him. But he always said he was a Kentucky boy. He had been born in Charlesburg, and his mother had been enslaved to Henry Clay. But he died in his sleep, and no one carried out his wish. But
where's he buried?
He's buried in France today.
Oh.
But 30 years after his death, he was finally inducted into the National Jockey Hall of Fame. And the Belmont Stakes runs a race in his name. But that's it. Kentucky.
Yeah.
Let's do something for Jimmy Winkfield.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I feel like it's really important to tell these
I was
stories.
going to say, there's got to be so many more like that.
And thank goodness for people like Yvonne Giles, who really takes care of this history, particularly at African Cemetery No. 2, where Oliver Lewis is buried, who was just 19 years old when he climbed atop mighty Aristides, May 17th, 1875, at the first running of the Derby. So all those stories, and then you got Mental Park as a whole other thing.
Absolutely.
I desperately want Oh Mary to come here first.
1,000%.
Off Broadway.
At the Opera House.
I am DMing Cola
Cole Skull. I've already done it. He
and
did not
Oh
respond.
Mary, me either.
Yeah.
I got to get my
Or they
DM.
did not
I'm
respond.
doing it every day.
Yeah.
You have to
let's work
it
together.
Pays off.
Yeah.
Because she was just born steps from it, and of course grew up on Main Street.
Right.
But she spent so much time at Mentel Park. This was a sprawling piece of land that was owned by Mary's like great aunt, and she went by Miss Polly, Mary Russell Todd Wycliffe. And she's tied to an interesting piece of history with Alfred Francis Russell, who was born enslaved on the corner of 2nd and Jefferson, and went on to be the 10th president of Liberia. That's a whole other track. And Abraham Lincoln was involved in a very important court case that really lit fire under him to run on an emancipationist platform. But Mary was trying to escape her stepmother, Betsy Humphreys, and she became one of 15 kids. So she was down here hanging with Charlotte, who had come here to escape the French Revolution. And her Mary's aunt, who had so much money, she was the largest woman landowner in the state, said, I'll give you this, just open a school. And it was a very formal and a very French school.
Yeah. Was it only for women, right?
I don't know. I guess it was. That would make sense.
I think so. Zach Leonard, who's with the Bluegrass Trust, has done a ton of work on Mentel.
Oh, I want to know. Because I haven't done a huge deep dive on Charlotte. She's a very handsome woman, that's for sure.
Yeah, very handsome woman.
She was. Yeah. But, this really, I would imagine it shaped her in a big way because Charlotte had grown up with, I think her dad was a doctor in the military, and I've read that he would like bring a corpse home to like put her in the closet with it to make her hard, and would like have her swim the English Channel before breakfast. Like, she was not your average like wilting flower
I
lady,
wouldn't imagine.
nor was Mary Todd.
Right.
And I think that she really let her know, shaped her into becoming this outspoken person. And she had all of these years of formal training, which was very unusual for a woman at the time. And Mary famously told Henry Clay when she was 9 that she wanted to live in the White House one day.
I know.
And, would Abraham Lincoln, a guy with little education and no money, would he have achieved all these political platforms without a good woman behind
really
him?
good partner that was savvy about
That's
everything.
right. And when he won the presidential election, the first round, he ran around the house screaming, Mary, we did it. We did it. And there are a lot of accounts that say quite literally that's what Abraham meant, that he always recognized he wouldn't have done it without Mary Todd.
Mm-hmm. I recently went to Washington, D.C., and I went to the Ford's Theater and then across the street to where, the row house where he had died. And there's very little about her in either spot. And I'm like, well, we're doing a better job of that in Lexington, of course. But it's just sad because, of course, she was a major part of him and his legacy. And I don't know, I get particular about how history is presented, especially with women.
I do too.
Yeah.
And, Mary had such a tough life, and she's been vilified throughout history. I mean,
Sure
she was
has.
called a minstrel hellcat, and literally a minstrel hellcat.
I'm stealing that. That's mine now.
Yeah, you minstrel hellcat.
That'd be a good band name. You and I should start a band called the Minstrel Hellcats.
Oh my god,
we're in, baby.
I could play the tambourine.
We only play one. We only play once a month.
Yeah, that's it. No one's going to ask for an encore.
No,
I don't have a great singing voice.
No.
But yeah, she was totally vilified all throughout history. I suppose be careful what you wish for, because she gets to the White House and there were mushrooms going out of the ceiling. Like,
it was decrepit, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And Abraham Lincoln was only president to half of the country. The Union Army was on the White House lawn to guard it every day. It was nonstop assassination attempts. Her son Willie died of typhoid fever in the White House because he contracted it from the water, because those boys didn't have bathrooms out there.
Oh,
I
didn't know it was from the water.
Like, this wasn't like some lavish life that was being led.
That is now.
Whereas here, the Mary Todd Lincoln home, if you visit it, you will see the testament to the amount of wealth that the Todds had. I mean, they were stature, honey. Bluegrass Tavern is where Mary Todd's father owned a grocery store until he died in the cholera epidemic of 1849. We had our own water problem here, Town Branch. But not only did she have silver, hers was monogrammed, and she lived a very torn life, just like we're living in politics today. Her father was elected by the emancipationist wing of his party, yet he owned one slave for every person in his house. She had several brothers who fought for the Confederacy, and then he had Mary, who married the guy who penned the Emancipation Proclamation. So she never fit in the South. She was never part of the Union. She was just kind of in no man's land. And her best friend in the world was Elizabeth Keckley. And even there, it all fell apart with the old clothes scandal when poor Mary Todd was having to sell everything, including her dirty drawers.
Yeah.
Literally.
And it was her own son, her one surviving son, that was the one that was like, we need to put you in a mental institution.
Took her to court.
Yeah, took her to court.
And so Mary Todd was holding seminars in the White House. What of it? She had lost 3 of her 4 sons.
Yeah, I mean, and witnessed her husband's murder.
Died in his arms, covered in blood.
Yeah.
I mean, she desperately wanted to connect.
She's crazy. She's really sad about this whole situation. And it's like, why
Give
are
her
we
a
vilifying
break.
her? Yeah.
Right. And she's criticized for all these shopping binges. Let's keep in mind that Donald Trump is turning some room all gold right now. Like, there's not a first lady who hasn't come in and redone things.
Jackie O was praised for it.
That's
but
right.
Yeah.
But Mary is the one who was like, oh no. Well, she was vilified for buying 200 pairs of white gloves, but she and Abraham shook the hands of every person and greeted everyone for every ball. Maybe she had the good sense to understand germs.
Yeah.
But one key thing that happened within Mary Todd's life that I think allowed her, for her son to successfully have her locked up, which she proved her sanity in a second trial, but she had actually been thrown from a carriage on an assassination attempt, which has kind of been skipped over in history.
Yeah.
Abraham was not in the carriage with her that day, but she was thrown, and she had this major head trauma, and she was treated for all these migraines from that point on, and she was treated with hallucinogens, and it absolutely affected her brain chemistry.
Oh, I'm sure.
So girl was spiraling out a little bit. Who knows what she was taking?
She got a lot on her plate.
That's right. And so her son Robert was able to prove her insane, and she was locked up. And that left him in control of her finances. And what she had left, he bled her dry. And when Abraham died, they gave her 1 more year's worth of a president's salary, and that was it. I mean, Mary had no way of making money. And we're coming out of the Civil War like nobody is rolling in it.
Right.
Everything's pretty exhausted, and it's not an
even
ideal
the Todd
sitch.
fortune from before.
Yeah. She definitely was to the point where she had to literally sell the clothes off of her back.
Yeah.
And so
terrible.
Now she's out. She proved her sanity in a second trial. And of course, while being under a court order in this situation, nobody was giving her these drugs anymore. And she became quite lucid and sane. She was fine, right? So now she's out, and she calls her friend Elizabeth and is like, I need to cash some stuff in. And so she says, please meet me in Washington at this hotel. I'm going to be in disguise. She had checked in under some, I can't remember the name. We need to look it up. It's it's like Susan Jones or something. I don't know. Some like super common name. Mary thought she had it all figured out. And she set up this big estate sale where you come into the hotel and buy things, like literally her pantaloons. Like she was selling everything. But Mary had on like a veil and she was using like some kind of like Gollum voice, like hello.
Like an accent. Wow.
And people quickly realized it was Mary Todd because a lot of her jewelry had her name on it.
Oh, girl, no.
So now it turns into another situation.
Yeah,
for
another
poor
scandal.
Mary.
Yeah.
Right. And Elizabeth goes on to write a book to try to kind of repair some of that. And in the end, it just drives an even bigger wedge. And the two of them never even spoke again. And then, of course, you get all the stuff about Abraham Lincoln likely being a gay man and always sharing a bed with a man.
Right.
I'm very sympathetic toward Mary Todd.
Absolutely.
And I have no doubt that she probably did want to be a cabaret singer. I mean,
Absolutely.
Mary loved the limelight. She loved having her own voice.
Yeah.
And, of course, that was tough for her time period, even today. Women are often vilified for having their
or
own
being
voice.
too loud or boisterous or
That's right.
in your face.
I'm sure you've heard that. I've heard it my whole life.
For sure.
I'm tall and loud and take up space. There's nothing
Same.
I can do about it.
Same.
But I have to try to be mindful of that, especially in situations where I want things to go my way.
Yeah.
To try to be a little softer.
But do you ever not get your way, Erin?
Rarely. I don't like that.
I know.
No. I am aware enough that things shouldn't always go my way, for sure. But I do love a gal in spaces where women can be themselves.
Absolutely.
And we're sitting in one of those right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. The Willow is such a testament to, I don't know, just female empowerment. I mean, I know Avina's brothers Ray is involved in the mix, but like this is women owned. I mean, this is a collective.
He's very, very shy.
I know. He's so precious. I came in one time.
He has a lovely wife, Kelly.
Yes, and he's always like moving the plants around. He's like doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
You know, like bless his heart.
Yeah. If anybody's wondering how all this greenery stays alive, it's because of our gardener, and he's very great. Thank goodness.
So great.
Ray is absolutely lovely and a huge champion of women. I think he loves nothing more than to just support.
Well, we love a man that supports women, brothers, partners, otherwise.
Right. And that's exactly what we champion here. To the point, is very funny. Whoever you are, that's so sweet. Somebody just sent a DM and said, "Is it okay if I bring my husband tonight? Are men allowed?"
I love it.
Men, you are allowed.
You're allowed. You can come in.
But at the same time, we are intentional about creating a space for women and hosting topics that that appeal to women.
Well, I also think it's cool
sapphic
too
women
that you
on the
have,
fence.
you know, there's sort of like an age limit to it's not really like a kid spot, you know, it's supposed to really be more for like adults, and that's kind of different for Lexington. I think a lot of places are leaning into like the kids stuff or even like pets and
for
stuff.
sure. Yeah, and so I have kids, I have dogs.
Sure.
In fact, I'm going to run my corgi in the wiener dog races Sunday, which is like
amazing. I didn't know if I was going to go or not, but now I'm going.
Well, she is down. She's lost 6 pounds.
In training?
Yeah.
Training for the wiener dog races.
Yeah.
As a corgi.
Well, and just in general. She's a Hoscat.
Yeah.
She's a big girl.
Yeah.
But we've run before. I love it. It is such a quirky tradition here, and all the money goes to the Humane Society, which, what better cause. But,
perfect.
And Red Mile's the second oldest chariot racetrack in the nation. It's so storied and cool in itself.
I love Red
Mile. There's no better day and now you can gamble and everything. I say we gamble on the corgis.
Absolutely.
And there's a giant corgi trophy at stake. That's what we're dreaming of.
So she's only against other corgis.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So corgis are wiener dogs, and then so you got a dachshund run, corgi run. French bulldogs have been brought in the mix for some reason, which I support. And then also there is a rescue, and then there's a rescue run for dogs under 40 pounds.
Okay, cool.
But now there are so many dogs that show up. It's like a 5 or 6 hour thing. But food trucks, there's like so much to do, and Red Mile's activated in every way. So it's a really fun Sunday. I don't even know what we were talking about now.
So the decision behind kind of like being more
dogs.
adults only, no dogs, no kids.
Yeah, what's wrong with having an intentional adult space?
Yeah.
So in the morning when we open at 9, and that is we serve drip coffee from the Greenery, which is owned by Erin Hilton downtown at the Grove. We sell little individual Fable charcuterie trays that are Fable is owned by Lauren Miller, who's nestled within Harvey's, and she makes these beautiful spreads.
So pretty.
Then Natalia is this awesome Dominican baker who's over at Gray Line Station.
I love her pastries.
She's the best, and she's
the best.
She's I love her I love all these women as people too, but she makes these like healthy treats from protein muffins to hummus trays to empanadas. And so we just want people to come in and work. We just want to offer a nice quiet space. Avina's done such a brilliant job of creating this space. Why not share it? And so we want you to come in here, and it's 21 and over all day long, even during the coffee hour, just as a quiet space.
Focus.
Yeah, and our playlist is intentional. It's meant to appeal to an older crowd and we're intentionally put 2-seaters in here so you can just have a conversation or bring a larger group if you want. But just to be different from what's available in the warehouse block. Mirror Twin does a great job of creating a space where you can bring kids and dogs and do all that. And we're here to complement that by saying, here's an alternate. And, you got Void around the corner who... Right. There's no end to their creativity.
I know.
They're always doing something
And they're always pushing the envelope. I love the Void guys.
I do too.
Yeah. They're always thinking of like these crazy ideas. And they're very similar to you in regards to like, they really want the community coming in and creating their own ideas in their own spaces.
It's such an
they're so quirky,
space.
They're
so
they're great.
Smart.
They're great.
And I love that there's always a Kentucky connection. And of course, Japan. There are so many connections here with Toyota.
Definitely.
Martha Lane Collins bringing them in, and Kentucky Christmas in Japan with the whole Harlan Sanders KFC thing there.
Yes.
And, Justin is really dedicated to his craft and like brings sports from Japan and stills it himself and Koji, all the things. I love listening to them about their process. And then Blue Door, Jeff, who's the master of his craft. And to me, this block is the perfect example of entrepreneurship. You've got Spalding's Bakery around the corner reminding us of that. I mean, Spalding started with
30s, right?
Yeah. And literally, Papa Spalding was the one who was dropping off bread and flour to all of the bakeries and stuff downtown by horse-drawn carriage, and like his family has just kept that going. That's incredible.
It is incredible.
And then you've got, of course, peanut butter in the air. Big Top peanut butter, baby.
Yeah, Big Top peanut butter. Talk about that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
William Young, he grew up on Aurora Avenue.
Okay.
And he worked for his father's laundry company that had the simple tagline, "Wear clean clothes." I love that. That's very direct messaging.
Yes.
And so he took a couple lessons. Number one, how to sell himself from his dad. He was a great marketing guy. But also, it was impressed upon him at an early age that owners make all the money. So why would you be anything but an owner? So he kind of dabbles in engineering. He's making little radios for his brother at home. That's what he studies at UK. He makes straight A's and never misses a day of class. And that's where he meets a young debutante from Georgia. And in fact, she was like crowned the what is the something of the debutante ball? The queen, the princess.
Queen
I don't
bee,
know.
yeah.
By Happy Chandler. And he laid eyes on her and was like, okay. Well, and her father owns a peanut farm. And he serves in the war. And afterward, he comes back home and he opens up WT Young Food Services right where Jeff stands today. And he sold a number of things, but amongst those was peanut butter. Up until this time, peanut butter had only been marketed as a nutritional supplement for people with no teeth, but WT Young
makes sense.
Had the vision of putting it into pantries. He thought he could do it.
Yeah,
and he
put it on bread.
That's right, and he knew how to sell it. So he was like, people need something happy after war times. I'm going to put a clown on it. We're going to call it Big Top.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell it in these like fine etched pieces of china. Somebody just brought me... Ellie, thank you. She came to History Night and she brought like all these glasses from that Big Top used to be served in.
Oh, that's
because
so
you'd
cool.
have something nice for your table when you were done. Yeah. And he would go out and do all these in-store demos, putting out a fine linen tablecloth, lighting a candle. He was sleeping on the doorsteps of emerging conglomerates like Kroger. And in 1955, he sold the peanut butter for $3.3 million.
To who?
He sold it to Procter & Gamble. Then
Okay.
it's Smucker's today. They added the sugar. It used to not have
So
sugar.
the Jif factory across the street, across Winchester Road, used to be Big Top peanut butter.
It was WT Young Food Services, and Big
WT Young
Top was one of the things
that they sold.
What that they sold.
Cool.
And they processed 188 billion peanuts last year, more than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that was sold there. And then, of course, he goes on, like we do when we get money around here. He gets into horses over Brook Farm. He ends up buying a horse nobody wanted at the sales, a yearling named Stormcat, and we've all bet on a cat at this point. That totally worked out.
Yeah.
And then in 1996, he had his own Derby winner with Grindstone. But of course, we remember him for everything he left behind. I mean, he built the High Street YMCA. He created the largest scholarship fund in the state to keep the smart Kentucky kids here. He saved the Opera House from demolition the very day it was to be torn down to make a parking lot. Thank God that didn't happen.
Could you imagine?
No. It's one of only 14 in the nation built before 1900 with 1,000 seats or less. And it has seen like Mae West, Harry Houdini.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite places in the city.
I love the Opera House so much.
Me too. And Ed Mackey, I love you too. And it's incredible. I couldn't imagine our city without it. But yeah, he saved it the very day it was to be torn down. He kickstarted UK's library, which kids affectionately call Willie T's. He established the largest book endowment in the nation that was recently surpassed, but it's to Harvard, so okay. But my favorite thing about him is what he was always quoted as saying, and that's that he felt so lucky to have been born in the United States, but even luckier to have been born in Lexington.
I love that.
I mean, and what better example of, and that's one of the things I love about Lexington so much. You know, the Silas houses, all these big names, Wiley Cottle, everybody stays here. We get a Michael. That says a lot, I think, about our city and the community that exists here.
The cream kind of rises to the top. Like the Lexington's really special in the sense that if you're successful, you are generally successful because you're working well with others. You're playing really nicely among different fields. So I mean, like we really respect, I think, in this town, like this sense of camaraderie and like, I don't know, a respect.
Each other's ties.
A respect. Exactly.
Yeah, you're so right. Lexington is an incredibly collaborative space, and you see it all the time within restaurants themselves. Of course, you've got Chef Greg Spalding with Salt and Vinegar sitting inside Ethereal Brewing. You've got Void right beside us, always bringing in different businesses to showcase. We love doing it here. We're going to have a couple pop-ups on Saturday, doing some dry styling and some permanent jewelry and whatever. I think so many people and look at Wida. I mean, she literally has a cooking studio where she brings in all these chefs for these dinners. Chef Paola's doing it nonstop right now, and she's traveling to other places
or just
and putting
feast,
on these
the concept
dinners.
of feast in general.
It's my favorite event every
same.
single
Me too.
year.
Me too.
But yeah, it is so cool and such a great example to see all these leaders creating space for everybody else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're so right.
So last question, what is next for Bites of the Bluegrass? Or like, what are some personal goals you have? I mean, you're so entrepreneurial. What's on the horizon?
Quite honestly, my promise to myself this year was not to create anything new.
Any new businesses?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Because I also have kids, two that are growing out of the house, but one daughter is still at home. She plays volleyball. And it also leaves room to do fun things like history dinners, which I just did a series at the Manchester this winter. We did Lovers of Lexington, Ladies of Lexington, Lost Lexington. And it's been brought to me to do several more. And I would love to make time and space for that without feeling like I want to jump off a cliff.
Yeah. Sounds great. I mean, it's all about balance.
That's right.
So you can't overextend.
That's right. And I also love attending everything and supporting other people.
Of course.
And
it's a symbiotic relationship, I bet, for you. Like, it's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm genuinely want to go.
She's
like literally tonight, I will go to the Jazz Thing at Kentucky Theater. Then I'm going to pop into a restaurant somewhere, maybe the V, and try that, and then go to Lexi Lovett, the bar complex.
Yeah. A woman about town. I love it.
Tomorrow, Warehouse Block, baby.
Yeah, Warehouse
Block. There'll be a tour
party
going on that'll be walking right through
it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Good. We'll have food trucks for them and all that. Or I'm sure you already have it all planned. But
yeah, this tour goes to, we start in Lucia's.
Cool.
So that people walk in and see how special Lucia's is.
I love Lucia's.
I do too. And it's such
people don't realize it is one of the greatest places to get a gift in Lexington, Kentucky.
One of the greatest.
It's so cute.
And it's going to...
And it's fair trade.
Fair trade. And sourced from all over the world. And it's such a nice reflection of who we are in Lexington, which is 25% immigrant. The number 2 most commonly spoken language in our public school system is Swahili.
I know.
Isn't that wild?
I learned that on one of your tours.
And this weekend, we're actually hosting the Latin Festival.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we are a diverse city, and a lot of people don't know that about us. And that's a great place to start talking about all of the diversity that lives on this end of town. And I totally agree. Warehouse Block is I feel like downtown is divided into districts. We've got the Distillery District. West End could arguably be its own district. There's
Jefferson Street, almost.
And I'm actually in a conversation right now. Does Smithtown belong to the East End or the West End? A lot of people think it belongs to the East End. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tyler Morton is councilperson for District Number 1, and he's actually he's going to be defining all that. And that's important.
Oh, interesting.
I think because number one, when I talk about East End neighborhood, which is very much a cultural identity of neighborhoods that were formed after emancipation, and a lot of folks like Kincaid, the Living Arts and Sciences Center, that was his mansion, and he divvied up his property and only leased and sold to previously enslaved people, and that became Kincaid Town and Gun Town and Goodloe Town, and it's literally generations still living in those homes. It is truly a cultural identity, and it's incredibly important. And incredibly important to be able to preserve history in the right way
and define it, like you said. Yeah,
to define it, so we know who's in charge of keeping that going, because historians won't always be here. We got to pass it off, and it's got to be
documented,
ready to go. Otherwise, Jimmy Wingfield gets lost in the mix, and we can't have it.
Ooh, full circle moment.
Yeah.
Look at you,
Yeah.
straight back to what we were
That's
just
right.
talking about. I love it. Well, thanks for being on the
Thanks for having
podcast.
me.
Oh my god, like
I always love chatting
easiest.
with you.
I always like chatting with you too. Maybe we should do another episode sometime soon.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I can talk all the time
Sounds
to you
great.
about
Yeah.
history stuff.
Sounds great. I don't know. Okay, a couple of history nerds unite for
That's
sure.
right.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye.